And this, I'm confused. I don't know how often they ask these people, did they actually graduate, right? You got student loan debt, or did you graduate and you have student loan debt? But my assumption is a good majority of these people there that took the survey have a degree, but they don't possess any critical thinking skills. I'm so confused. This is why I'm like, I don't know about the student loan forgiveness, because some of y'all just be like, damn, why you so dumb? Although the frustration, yes, Corey is frustrated. Although the frustration behind the student loan boycott is understandable, it's unlikely to lead to positive change, Hill said in a statement. No, it will not lead to. And shout out to Jake Hill, founder and CEO of Debt Hammer, saying that borrowers who are intentionally missing student loan payments may be putting their credit at risk. No, if you miss payments to debt, you are putting your credit at risk. You may, it's not a may. It's not a may. On-time payments is rated the highest as far as the weight when it comes to your credit score. FICO, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, on-time payments is the highest weighting. So don't miss no payments. If you've never missed a payment and you got a low credit score, it's because you might have a lot of derogatory marks, right? Things like that, stuff in collections. But it's because you have a high utilization rate. If you have a low utilization rate, but you have a really low credit score, it's because you be missing payments. What the hell? Y'all can't be missing payments. I say, y'all can't be missing payments. I'm gonna have to clip that. Anyways, frustration behind student loans is understandable, sure. It's not like, yeah, no positive change, Hill said. Instead, it will destroy the credit scores of those who choose to participate. This may not seem like a major issue in the short term, but failing to pay your student loans can make it more difficult to obtain funding for future purchases. Why do you need funding for future purchases if you can't pay your past purchases? Isn't okay? Let's break this down. Student loans are debt. Loan is debt. Loans are debt, however you want to phrase it. These people are struggling to make their current debt payments. Why then are we talking about them in the future as far as their credit score being able to take out more debt if they can't make their current debt payments? That's why your credit score that's the one benefit of a credit score, is that, hey, it shows us in short your ability to pay back debt or keep your debt low. I mean, that's why it's out here. So we're saying, hey, this person is struggling to pay for debt. However, since they're struggling to pay for debt, it's going to negatively impact their ability to take out debt in the future, as it should. That's the whole point of the score. That's why it's historical. This shout out to Jake Hill, founder and CEO of Debt Hammer. Like, bro, what? You don't need funding for future purchases if you can't pay back the funding you got for your past purchases. Like, huh? For example, if you default on your student loans, you'll be unable to attain most mortgages, which will derail any plans you had to purchase a home. Well, yeah. Here's the thing. If you got all this student loan debt, in theory, not for everybody, the theory, though, is that you went and got this education and debt was attached to it so that you can earn income to create the future that you wanted. In short, now everybody did that, but to simplify the conversation, so this episode isn't 300 hours. However, you can only have to be 24. It allows us to stream. Anyways, however, now you're in a situation clearly where you can't make the payments or get ahead financially, or however you want to phrase it. And now we're worried about how that's going to derail you. It's like, yes, these are people who went to college. Okay. This is like middle school level critical thinking. If Johnny has 3 apples, okay, and he needs to pay somebody for these 3 apples, but he can't do that, Johnny might not be able to get some more apples in the future. And now we're not talking about apples. Now Johnny wants a whole lemonade stand, right? Student loans to a mortgage. It's like, Johnny just need to pay back these apples. Why are you worried about the lemonade stand? Some people, not a lot percentage wise, but there are people out there whose student loans, just from a dollar amount standpoint, are a mortgage. Then they go and get a mortgage. Shout out to those people. But it's like, my God, where's Dave at? I keep saying I need to redo my books. I realized my camera was tilted to the side too much. The student loan situation shows the level of insanity and lack of critical thinking, at least people say publicly in these articles, of the American people. And these, in theory, should be our most educated people. At least they are most educated people from a attainment standpoint. But reading these articles with student loans, it just shows why people won't pay them off. It's because you're not thinking logically about the situation. And then you're so concerned about your future. Why are you concerned about your future now? And again, I give people a grace who just have your bachelor's. Master's and doctorate, no forgiveness. Because then you lose the ability to say you were ignorant. You're coming out of high school, you had all this pressure for you, you were a minor. And you lose the ability to say you weren't college educated. You got a master's and or a doctorate. You already have a bachelor's. I need to take a pause so I can catch my breath. You don't need to buy no home if you got all this student loan debt. Shout out to baby steps 1, 2, and 3. If you're having trouble making payments on your private student loans, you won't benefit from federal relief. Yes, if you didn't know that, because the federal student loans will be considered public, you could consider refinancing your loans for a lower interest rate to lower your monthly payment. Oh, that's all. That's all. That's an ad. Anyways, resuming payments is a challenge for most. Remember, I got a degree in computer science. Don't press me on my ability to read. All right. Anyways, the restart of student loan payments has been hard on 94. Everyone has had an issue with student loan payments restarting. That's crazy. 94% is so high. 94% of borrowers who have met all or some of the monthly obligations, the survey said. Over half, 58% of those borrowers have had to trim spending on entertainment, leisure, and hobbies. We talked about this on, I believe, the last student loan episode. I'm confused. You didn't have student loan payments in your budget. That's why we talk about the budget. First thing I recommend is the budget. $500, let's say, is your student loan payment. March 2020 happens, panorama, and now those $500, instead of continuing to put towards your student loan, you put it and disperse it to other places in your budget, i.e. spending on entertainment, leisure, and hobbies. Now your student loans start back up after 42 months, right? It's going to start back up. It's going to get forgiveness, whatever it is. Hey, they about to start back up, like real talk now. And now everyone's like, oh my God, I can't cut back. No, you should have never increased your lifestyle. That's why I talk about that article, which I never went over, but I read through, showing how when the forgiveness or the forbearance, not forgiveness, the forbearance happened that President Trump put into place at the start of the panorama, it put people in a worse situation as far as what they did since they didn't have that student loan minimum payment now. They went into more debt. Majority of people did. Jesus Christ. It says 52% are working more hours at their primary job or have picked up a side gig to afford the extra cost. You're not working more at your primary job, you get paid salary. That's hourly people. Moreover, 42% of student borrowers said they've delayed plans to make big purchases like buying a home or car purchase because of student loans. Yeah, I can't pay off my current debt, so I'm not going into more debt. Good job. Highly recommend you consider doing that. Another 39% are saying less in general savings accounts. They're saving less, in general savings accounts or retirement funds, and the same have reduced spending on household essentials like groceries and utilities. No, don't decrease how much you're spending on groceries. And when I say decrease, like, spend what you need to spend. No, don't just leave all the lights on and stuff like that and buy food you're not going to eat. But groceries and utilities are at the top of the list as far as things you pay for. That if you're cutting groceries and utilities before zeroing out, not cutting, right? I want to be clear when I say cutting, but zeroing out, meaning no spending on things like entertainment or even retirement. And this is why, again, I always say this, I can't knock people not putting money into their retirement as far as what the Ramsey Network recommends, because people are choosing to not eat or not have maintenance on their vehicles for retirement. And what you're going to end up doing is you're going to pull out the retirement anyway. Like, just secure yourself now. When I say it's a luxury, like, you got to work to be in a position to put money into your retirement. You got to solidify and stabilize your foundational needs for as far as what you spend money on first. And groceries and utilities are part of those foundational needs. Shout out to the financial house. My goodness.